Hi everyone, it's Tish with Naptime Creations. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe. It's free and it'll help me out a lot, so hit that subscribe button. Today we're going to be making some holographic resin crystals, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how I mix up my resin. So let's jump in and get started. Today I'm using the Liquid Diamonds casting resin from the Epoxy Resin store. This resin is a 2-to-1 ratio resin. So you're going to use 1 part B to 2 parts A. I poured in my part B first. I'm going to be mixing up 3 ounces total. So I poured in 1 ounce of part B, and now I'm going to go in with 2 ounces of part A. And that's pretty much it. I'm just going to go in and mix it. And when you mix your resin, you want to mix really slowly. And you can see in my cup, see all those little like stringy lines and striations? That tells you that your resin is not mixed. So let's say you mix your resin for 3 minutes. That's what your packaging says, to mix your resin for 3 minutes. If you're still seeing those stringy lines in your cup, it is not mixed. So you just want to keep mixing until your resin no longer has those stringy lines. So I ended up mixing mine for 3 minutes, and this is what I always do. You don't have to do this, but I highly recommend doing this because it will ensure that your resin is 100% mixed. I take that first cup where I mixed up my 3 ounces, make sure I scrape everything out of it, and I put that into a new mixing cup. And then I go in and mix it for another 3 minutes. And this is going to make sure that your resin is 100% mixed. I know it takes an extra cup, but I promise, especially if you're new to resin or you've never used a 2-to-1 ratio resin before, this will make sure your resin is mixed up. And especially in cups like this, where you have that little kind of grooved area on the bottom of the cup, you want to make sure you really get in there and get that resin mixed up. And I always mix really slowly, just like this. This is real time, just mixing for another 3 minutes. You want to scrape the sides of your cup, scrape the bottom of your cup, scrape off your stir stick, and here's how it's looking when it's all mixed up. So now I'm going to go in with a little bit of resin dye from Let's Resin. Like I mentioned, I mixed up 3 ounces, so I'm going to go in with 2 drops of this transparent or translucent resin dye. This set comes with about 16 different colors, and these colors are all transparent or translucent. They give you a tiny tint of color. So I'm going to go in with 2 drops of the sky blue, and I'm doing this to prevent against yellowing. If you just add a tiny bit of blue to your clear, it will not show yellow because some resins can yellow over time, and this is just kind of a way that you can prevent that from happening. Just add a little bit of blue to your clear, and you can see it has just the tiniest tint of blue. So if you guys want to check out these resin dyes, I'll link them down below along with my coupon code. Like I said, it comes in the pack of 16, but they are transparent and translucent. So even if you add a ton of drops, it's never going to get opaque. It's always going to be just a touch of color. So keep that in mind, but they're really great. It's a really great product for projects like this. And you want to make sure you just really mix it in thoroughly, make sure that everything gets mixed in really well, and then you'll be ready to pour. So before I go in and pour my resin, I'm going to take some 91% isopropyl alcohol and just spray it into my mold. That's going to help prevent bubbles. And then I'm just going in with my little stir stick here or my little spatula, and I'm just dipping that or kind of scooping it into my cup and dropping my resin down into my crystal points. And I'll link these molds down below. I got them off Julie Art's website. I'll link it down below in the description box. And just go in and just really kind of make sure that you're not scooping up any bubbles onto your stir stick, and just pour it right into those crystal points. And once you have all the points full, I like to go in and just fill the mold up halfway. We're going to be pouring these in 2 layers. Same thing on this mold. In this mold on the right, just going in with a little bit of resin right in the crystal points, and then I'm going to pour my resin and fill the mold up about halfway full. And that's going to be pretty much it for layer number 1. This project is so super simple and easy. It just does take a few days because of the different layers. And I am actually currently working on another video where I poured these in just one pour. So make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss that video. It's going to be coming up. I wanted to see how different they turned out in pouring them in just one pour instead of splitting it up into 2 pours. So this is actually 48 hours later. I'm going in with 3 more ounces and I'm just filling the molds up the rest of the way. And I did, add 2 more drops of that sky blue resin dye. And here are my holographic inserts. These are so awesome. These are going to give the crystals a holographic effect. And you're going to see I did a little oopsie here. When I laid this down, I kind of submerged it under the resin, and you don't want that. You want it to sit on top of the resin. And this one here, I overfilled my mold, so resin started spilling out all over. So you want to make sure on your second layer that you just slightly underfill your mold, because you want to take into account the weight of these little silicone holographic inserts. I did not do that, so that's why on this one here I kind of overfilled it, but that's okay. I just took my cup, poured a little bit out, grabbed the insert, and I'm just going to kind of carefully place it down so it floats right on top of that resin, just like that. I'm going to take my gloved hand, just kind of clean up a little bit of the spillage, and I am going to scoop up that little bit that ran out onto my wax paper, and I'm just going to throw that in another mold, and that was it. This one on the right, I did take that insert out and reposition it so it wasn't under the resin and it was sitting right on top. I let it dry for 48 hours. And here I'm just going in with some clear packing tape and just getting off any of the little kind of resin drippies that were on the side of the mold and on the silicone holographic inserts. And now we're ready to demold them. I was so excited to see how these were going to turn out. The holographic inserts are a little tricky to get out. They do take a little bit of patience. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking my kind of thumb and pointer fingers and just trying to peel that up. It took about a minute and a half in real time, but just keep at it, and eventually once you break that seal, it pops right off. You can see the holographic effect stays on the insert. It transfers beautifully to the resin, and now we're going to pop the crystal out of the mold. The kind of bad news that I have is the liquid diamonds from the epoxy resin store. I'm pretty sure they changed the formula of that resin. I haven't confirmed it with them, but now it does take about 48 hours to harden. So that was why I waited 48 hours to demold these. Usually in the past, that stuff is hard at 24 hours and you can demold, but now it's a little bit longer of a cure time. So if you check on your project, if you get this resin and you try it and you check on your project at 24 hours and it's still jelly, don't panic. Just let it dry for another 24 hours and then you'll be able to demold it. I just wanted to add that in there. And this resin did have a little bit more bubbles than I'm used to. Honestly, I hadn't used this resin in a really long time, and I bought some recently, and when I was mixing it, I was like, that's weird. Usually this resin has like no bubbles, and there were some bubbles in it. So to counteract that, you can heat up your resin before you mix it together. I like to put my resin in some little condiment bottles and stick it in like a hot water bath. You can do that, and that will warm it up to kind of reduce those bubbles. But I just wanted to let you know that the formula did change on this, and it's also not good for thin pours. You don't want to pour this in a thinner mold. You want to just use it for deeper molds like this, because I did make some earrings with it, and those are still bendy, and it's been like a week. So it's just meant for deep castings like this. So I just wanted to add that in there in case you guys do purchase this resin. It is good for deeper pours like this. So I'm just going to be using it a lot to make these type of crystals and creations. But if you want to check it out, I'll link it down below along with my coupon code. I just wanted to add that kind of like little bad news disclaimer in there so you guys aren't surprised if you buy it and you're like, wait, my project is not hard at 24 hours. Just give it a little bit of extra time and it will be fully hardened and you'll be able to demold it. I do still really love how these turned out. I think they're so beautiful. I just love the holographic rainbow look of these. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I hope you guys give this a try. I will link the molds, the holographic inserts, all the materials I used down below in the description box, along with any coupon codes that I have. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and go check out a few more of my other videos. That would really help me out a lot. Helps out my channel if you watch a few of my videos back to back. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're all doing fabulous, and I will see you soon for another video. Bye, guys.